Wow, that's a lot of fog. I'm going to talk a little bit about the way I like to fish, my favorite way of fishing, which is fishing with a Texas rigged soft plastic. I love fishing Texas rigged soft plastics. I have struggled with every other way imaginable when it comes to fishing. Fishing with frogs, anything top water, crankbaits, jerkbaits. I don't know. I just can't do it. And my fishing really struggled until I worked on the Texas rig. And since I've been using that, the majority of fish I have caught have been on a Texas rig. Not a professional. By no means am I a professional. I'm just a guy that likes to go fish during free time. So just because this is the way I do my Texas rig and the way I fish, doesn't mean that's the only way. There are probably dozens of ways to do this. Please don't take my word as gospel on this. This is just the way I like to do it. So you might be wondering what's this Texas rig you're talking about? Well, a Texas rig is basically just a way to set your soft plastic up on the hook, so that basically you can fish weedless. You can fish around grass and weeds and things like that. It does not mean this is a huge thing here. It doesn't mean you're not going to get snagged. Actually, I went fishing this morning, and there's some footage. I basically am doing this video backwards because I've already done the fishing, so that footage is already done. But I went fishing this morning. I got snagged several times using Texas rig. It's not going to stop you from getting snagged on sticks and things like that. So that's still a possibility, and that could still happen. But around grass, it's a way to get your bait through there without, theoretically, without getting snagged in the grass. All right, so what do you need for your Texas rigging? Well, this is what I use. Again, doesn't mean that this is the only thing to use. This is a 4/0 offset hook. And if you're not sure what 4/0 means, on your package, there is a 4-0. That just means 4/0. You don't have to use a 4/0. I use 3/0. Actually, most of the time I use a 3/0 hook, but I've gone as high as a 5. I've actually gone down to a 2/0 hook. I do like to make sure, and you don't need to do this. This is an extra wide gap, EWG. It stands for extra wide gap. You don't need the EWG. You could just use a wide gap hook. That's fine. That's all personal preference. And I have found a lot of fishing is personal preference. Try something, and if it doesn't work, don't stick with it. Try something different, or take a little bit of what someone tells you and put your own twist on it and see how that works. All right, now the way that I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this without a weight. You can use a weight. Often I fish with a sliding bullet weight, and I think I'll do one of those as well, just so you can see. I am going to use my favorite stick bait for Texas rigging, which is a Yum Dinger. I love the Yum Dinger. This happens to be, I think it's watermelon or something. It's a green one. My favorite is black. I like black, but I'm out of those. So how does this work? Again, you take your hook, and what's really important on that hook is there's a barb right here. That's important. And the bend here in the shank. Those two spots are very important. You're going to take your soft plastic, and with the Yum Dinger, there's a little groove on one side. That's so that you don't have to what's called text posing. We'll talk about that in a bit. You don't actually have to text pose this, because your hook point's going to sit right in that groove. So in order to do this, I'm going to actually do it without my hook on my line, just because it's a little easier for this. I'm going to make sure that that little groove is pointed away from my hook. Okay. I'm going to insert my hook right through the face of the bait. I'm going to give it a little pinch because that way I can make sure I go through the center. And I'm going to go until I get to about that barb. I'm stop. And the reason I'm stopping is because whatever amount that you initially push past that barb now has to end up at the bottom side of this, on the other side of this curve. You get too much, you go too far, and you get a lot of plastic here, and it gets crinked up. Crinked, is that a word? I don't know. It gets like crimped up, and it makes your bait not on there straight. And you really want a straight presentation for this. So when you get to that barb, you're gonna pull that through, and you're going to slide up to beyond that shank, that bend. Twist. Just twist on itself. And then what I do is I lay it flat so I can see where that bend goes, meets that worm. That's where I want to slide my hook point through. Again, a little bit of a pinch. And I'm through. And because my hook is buried inside the plastic here, I'm not going to get snagged on stuff quite as easily. I can still get snagged, and it does happen, but not quite as easily as. We're going to do this now with the bullet weight. And the way this works is, first, obviously, you got to get that bullet weight on before you get the hook. So you get that bullet weight on, slide it over there, and then you're just left right now with just the business end. We've got the hook. And going to rig on a, this is a Yum Christy Craw. Excuse me, Christy Critter. And other than the fact it's not a worm, we're going to do the same thing here. You're going to locate your center, give it a pinch, and then you're going to go straight through the face until you get to that barb. When you get to that barb area, pull through, bring it up past that bend in your hook. Once it's past that bend, give it a little twist, and lay it flat to see where it's going to come through. Give that a pinch. This one doesn't have the channel like the Yum Dinger did, and so what we have here now is something that looks like that, and we've got an exposed hook here, which means that has potential to get snagged on things. So we're going to text pose. To text pose, all I'm going to do is I'm going to lift forward a little bit on the bait and then slide it back on. And now it's pretty well buried underneath there, and I should be able to get it through grass and things like that. And when a fish bites, it's going to bite down on that, and then bam, you get them with the business end. All right, so here I am at the fishing spot. It's pretty cool this morning. It's like in the 40s. It's about 5:45, so there's a lot of fog out there. Gonna use that Texas rig Yum Dinger, see if we can catch a fish. Do we have one already? We do. Holy smokes. That didn't take long. Trying to get in those weeds. Wow. That's a pretty good fish. Had that Yum Dinger out for probably 3 seconds before that thing bit it. Unbelievable. Good fish. Well, that was about as good as it gets right there. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, it's recording. All right, cast number 2. Hopefully we didn't just curse ourselves with the first cast. Oh, we just had another bite already. I can see, looks like schools of bait fish out here. Just swirling around. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm casting out there and kind of letting it drag slowly on the water here on the bottom. And it feels like a snag. Yeah, we're snagged. Oh man. That's a bummer because that's the last yum dinger I have. That's really a bummer. Well, we're not going to watch this as I try to get this on. All right, so I lost my yum dinger. It broke off. That's, I mean, talk about the first cast curse. Get a nice fish the first cast, second cast, I lose my bait and my hook. And it was my last yum dinger, and that's what really bites. So, all right, what I did now is I Texas rigged a Strike King shimmy stick. I'm not in love with this one. I prefer the yum dingers over this any day, but I'm gonna give this a shot and we'll see what happens. All right, we'll reel that in, tighten up. I'm just going to slowly drag it. And honestly, you probably can fish this slower than the way I'm doing it, but to each their own. Let's just hope I can avoid that snag again. I don't know. Oh, we just got a bite. There we go. Oh, come on. Jeez. This is a decent sized fish, it feels like. Right through the salad. Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, that's a decent sized fish. Look at that. That thing is not a decent sized fish. It's good fish. I mean, don't get me wrong. Apparently fish and salad here. There we go. Oh, great. I hooked myself. Yeah, let's get that grass off you. There you go. And there's our second one on the Texas. Well, actually, it's not the Yum Dinger, is it? That's the Strike King Shimmy Stick, which I said I'm not really in love with, but, you know, decent little fish here. All right, here we go. There's a rock over there. That's kind of where I'm trying to locate these fish. Felt like a bite right there. Yeah, so there's that, the difference between, as far as I can tell, that Yum Dinger and the Strike King Shimmy Stick is that Shimmy Stick on one fish that wasn't all that big. I already had to take the end off it because it was already torn. And I think you only get 7 in a package, so. There was a bite. Yum Dinger versus Shimmy Stick. I'll go with the Yum Dinger every time. Well, I guess not every time. You know, when you run out of Yum Dingers, I guess you can't use them every time. All right, so I lost that Shimmy Stick on a snag, but look what I found. Another Yum Dinger. This is the 6-inch version. It's a green one. I can't remember if it's, I think it's a watermelon. So we're gonna give this a shot. Let's see what happens. That up. That's the thing about fishing a Texas rig is, you know, sometimes you think, well, it's weedless, so I shouldn't be getting snags, but weedless doesn't mean that you're going to not get snagged on branches, and obviously there's a branch down there. Oh, we just had a bite. I let that one go. Way to pay attention, man. All right, well, I guess that's it for the fish. Didn't get a lot, but regardless, it was fun. Anyways, make sure you get out there and fish.